From the moment you were born, the world has been feeding you a lie about your own potential. They sold you a story that your worth could be reduced to a number, a grade, a job title, a paycheck. But what if that entire system is a mirage? What if the very thing they measure you by has nothing to do with your actual capacity to think, to feel, and to forge your own destiny? What if the truest form of intelligence isn't about regurgitating facts, but about something far more radical, something that terrifies the architects of the system itself? Imagine this. You wake up every morning believing you are the author of your own story. But if you pause and look closely, you're just reciting lines handed to you. Society, the education system, your upbringing, they've all ghost-written the script. You believe you're making choices, but you're simply responding to cues, bouncing from one reaction to the next, never truly creating. This is the default setting for humanity, drifting, existing on a current you never chose, instead of navigating your own ship. But there is another way. The ancient Stoics, thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, saw through this illusion. They knew that authentic authority is never external. It is forged in the quiet space between stimulus and response, in our God-given ability to choose our perspective, regardless of the chaos around us. Intelligence, in the Stoic sense, isn't an accumulation of trivia. It is the practical application of wisdom to steer your own fate. If this calls to something deep within you, if you're prepared to dismantle the mental cages built by conventional thought and begin constructing your own reality, then please subscribe. This is your declaration of independence. Let's begin this ascent, one level of awareness at a time. The dormant mind. Living by default, we exist in a world where the masses chase the same mirages, trample the same worn paths, and worship the same hollow idols, never stopping to ask why. It's as if a programmer installed a subroutine in our collective psyche, a code designed not to liberate us, but to keep us predictable, manageable. The stark truth is, this code wasn't written for our flourishing. It was written for our compliance. And if you are operating on this autopilot, you are not truly living. You are merely surviving. You are not thinking, you are reacting. So let me ask you this. When is the last time you truly interrogated the architecture of your own life? Have you ever paused to ask why you hold the beliefs you do, or why you're walking the path beneath your feet? If not, then let's begin that excavation right here. Let's look at the first stage of awareness, what we'll call the dormant mind. These individuals move through the world, but they are not present. They are specters in their own existence, caught in a loop of repetitive motion, never questioning the carousel they're riding. They rise to the shriek of an alarm, fuel themselves with caffeine, commute to a job that drains them, and spend their evenings numbing the fatigue, only to do it all again tomorrow. They adopt trends because it's less taxing than forging their own identity. They purchase the newest gadgets, parrot the popular opinions, and nod in agreement because it's the path of least resistance. It's a life scripted by circumstance, not authored by choice. The dormant mind isn't stupid. In fact, they might be academically decorated, holding credentials that society worships. But education alone is not awakening. It can be just another layer of the script. The dormant mind may be a walking encyclopedia, but that data doesn't equip them to navigate the turbulent waters of existence. Their intelligence is borrowed, a collection of approved facts and accepted norms. They don't question, they don't challenge, they conform. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The dormant mind hasn't grasped this. They are trapped in a reactive state, a puppet jerked by every external string, never realizing they hold the power to cut them. They live reactively, letting the world happen to them. They blame their stagnation on their boss, the economy, their partner, They never assume the reins of responsibility because in their narrative, they are the victim, not the author. The real tragedy is their own blindness to the cage. They are reading a script they never signed. Unaware they can burn it and write their own epic. You might see these people everywhere. You might even recognize a flicker of them in your own mirror. This isn't a judgment, it's a siren. If you've ever felt the pull of the current, just going with the flow, never questioning the why, it's time to stir. And I don't mean just opening your eyes in the morning. I mean truly awakening to the life you're sleepwalking through, to the choices you're making by not making them. Start asking yourself the hard questions. Why do I hold this belief? Why do I react this way? Why am I passively accepting this reality? It will be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But it's the first necessary step toward genuine freedom, and that's where the true journey commences. When you begin to dismantle the assumptions your life is built upon, the landscape shifts. You'll start seeing doorways where you once saw walls. You'll begin crafting solutions where you once only saw problems. Your life will no longer be dictated by the script. It will be sculpted by you. The dormant mind has a choice, just as you do. The first step is simply to see. Once you perceive the autopilot, you can disengage it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The instant you begin thinking for yourself, interrogating the world, and living with intention, everything pivots. It's the shift from being a passenger to becoming the pilot. The power lies in your decision, your response. And that power begins by questioning everything you've been told is true. When you stop living by default, you realize you are not just a cog. You are the one who can redesign the machine. But first, you have to wake up. The dormant mind doesn't have to stay asleep. The good news is, it's never too late to open your eyes. You can start right now in this moment by asking that simple, potent question. Why? Why do I do what I do? Why do I think what I think? If you truly desire a life of purpose and agency, start with this question every single day. It's the first step out of the illusion. The mimic, performing understanding. We all encounter them. The people who can talk at length about anything, but seem to grasp very little. They've figured out that appearing intelligent is a social currency, but their engagement is purely cosmetic. They are awake, but barely. This is the mimic. The mimic understands that knowledge has value, but they haven't learned to internalize it. Instead, they've mastered the art of performing it. You know, the type. They have a quote for every occasion, but lack the depth to explore the ideas behind the words. They can drop names like Nietzsche or Jung, but they've never wrestled with the concepts or applied them to their own existence. They've perfected the illusion of depth, but it's all a facade. The mimic is a master information gatherer, but only at the surface. They read the summaries, not the books. They know the buzzwords, the right things to say to sound insightful. But beneath the veneer, there's a hollow echo. They can repeat profound statements, but they cannot unpack their meaning. It's as if they're trying to dance to music they can't really hear. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect in action. The phenomenon where a little knowledge creates the illusion of mastery. It's not malicious. They just haven't ventured into the depths yet. They've mistaken the shadow on the wall for the substance. It's an easy trap, especially when society rewards the performance over the reality. In a world obsessed with image, it's tempting to look smart rather than put in the work to actually be smart. But this is the peril of the mimic. They are still chasing validation, still trying to earn a seat at the table by echoing others instead of crafting something original from their own understanding. They want the prize without the race. What the mimic hasn't realized is that true intelligence isn't a performance. It's authenticity. It's learning for the sake of growth, not for the applause. True wisdom is not borrowed. It is forged in the quiet depths of your own experience. The mimic is still in the early stages of awakening. They sense there's more, but they haven't embraced the responsibility that comes with true learning. As Carl Jung noted, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. The mimic, however, is still avoiding their own darkness, the uncomfortable truth that they don't yet know what they think they know. Until they confront that, they'll remain stuck in this superficial loop. But here's the liberating truth. It's okay not to know. In fact, it's a sign of strength, not weakness. Real power comes not from pretending, but from stepping into the unknown with humility and a hunger to learn. The mimic is in the game, but they're playing by someone else's rules. To level up, they need to stop mimicking and start owning their understanding. They need to dig deeper into the subjects that resonate and make those ideas their own. When you stop trying to impress and start truly understanding what you don't know, that's when genuine learning begins. So if you find yourself parroting ideas you've only half digested or memorizing quotes for social points, it's time to drop the act. Real intelligence comes from deep personal engagement, not from repetition. Don't settle for being a performer in your own life. Stop mimicking. Start learning for yourself. Look at what truly resonates with you and invest the time to understand it at its core. True intelligence is about ownership, not performance. It's about being in touch with your own understanding and constantly seeking to expand it. Don't fear the unknown. The fear of being seen as ignorant is what keeps the mimic trapped. The real power comes when you accept that learning is a journey, not a destination. And the first step is admitting you don't have all the answers. The more you acknowledge what you don't know, the more room you have to grow. Only then can you move beyond the mimic and step into genuine intelligence. It's time to let go of the need to impress. It's time to stop being a copy and start being a creator. Embrace the discomfort of not knowing and use it as fuel. That's where true intelligence lies, not in memorization, but in understanding, not in performing, but in living authentically with the knowledge you gain. The Strategist, playing to win. We all like to believe we're in the driver's seat. But if you're honest, you've probably felt like life is a complex game with rules you can't quite master. Well, here's the insight. It is a game. And the next level of awareness, the Strategist, has figured that out. They've realized intelligence isn't just about absorbing facts or sounding clever. It's about using knowledge strategically to navigate the board. The strategist doesn't just react, they shape the game. They think critically, not emotionally. They survey the landscape, decode the rules, and figure out how to leverage them. They've learned to play the game with precision. But here's the edge. The strategist's mind can become cold, transactional. They are no longer playing by the old rules. They're working the system. They navigate social, professional, and personal dynamics to engineer outcomes. They see openings where others see dead ends. They understand human motivations, fears, and desires, and they use this understanding to maneuver. In many ways, the strategist is winning. They're not just reacting, they're controlling, bending situations to fit their goals. But in doing so, they can lose the plot. They begin to see everything as an exchange. Every interaction is weighed for its potential return. This level is all about strategy, but it's easy to get lost in the machinery of the game. You've met strategists. They always have a plan. They know what they want and how to get it. They've decoded the rules of business, relationships, or social dynamics and use them to climb faster. But the problem is this often comes at the cost of genuine connection. Strategists can forget the human element. They're so focused on optimization that they may lose touch with the people around them. Life becomes a series of moves with every person just another piece on the board. This is where isolation creeps in. The strategist might be winning, but they're winning alone. When you view every interaction as a transaction, you start seeing people as tools, not as beings from true empathy. It's easy to get from true empathy. It's easy to get trapped here, especially when you start seeing the world in terms of outcomes. You begin analyzing every interaction, asking, what's in it for me? This can feel empowering at first. You're in control. You're winning. But eventually, the emptiness creeps in. You realize you've climbed the ladder, but you're standing alone at the top. The connections are shallow, transactional, and the success feels hollow because it wasn't built on genuine relationships. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." The strategist, focused on maximizing every move, often misses this. They've mastered the game but haven't learned when to stop playing. The constant maneuvering leads to burnout. Success becomes an obsession, but it also leads to isolation. They've figured out how to win, but not how to live. If you find yourself constantly analyzing every situation for its transactional value, it's time to step back. Stop seeing people as tools and start seeing them as humans. Life isn't just about winning. It's about living in harmony, building relationships, finding meaning beyond the next move. The most powerful moves aren't always about outsmarting the system. They're about working with people, not just using them. The key to transcending the strategist mindset is recognizing that life isn't a game that can always be won through manipulation. There's more than the next deal. True success comes from understanding you can be strategic and humane. Once you realize this, the world opens up. You'll see you don't have to control everything to succeed. You don't have to manipulate every situation. Sometimes the most powerful thing is to step back, build meaningful relationships, and approach life from balance. If you're trapped in the cycle of always calculating, consider this a sign to reassess. Stop focusing so much on the outcome and start paying attention to the process. Build connections, not just strategies. The more you understand the human element, the emotions, the shared experiences, the more success will come naturally. You'll begin to win not just in the game, but in the hearts and minds of the people you encounter. As you progress, remember that true power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from understanding yourself and your connection to the world. When you stop seeing life as a series of moves and start seeing it as a shared experience, you unlock a new kind of success. The strategist is smart, but they're still playing within the game. The next level knows how to change the game entirely. But for now, if you're stuck here, the first step is to let go of the need to manipulate. Instead, see the deeper connections that make life worthwhile. Real success isn't about winning, it's about living well. The operator, leading with purpose. At this level, everything shifts. The operator doesn't care about looking smart or impressing anyone. They've moved past the need for external validation. They're focused on results. It's not about appearing intelligent, it's about being effective. The operator has learned to cut through the noise and take decisive action. They don't just play the game, they shape it. Where the mimic and strategist are caught up in validation or winning, the operator knows that true success lies in execution, in stepping up and making things happen. The operator understands something profound. Intelligence is only valuable when it leads to action, and action is what drives progress. The leap from strategist to operator is huge. It's not just about knowing the rules anymore. It's about using them to create something new, to drive change. The strategist played with precision, but the operator knows precision isn't enough. To truly succeed, you must take responsibility. You must make tough decisions, act even when it's risky, and lead others through uncharted waters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." The operator has moved beyond the thinking phase. They're too busy being to worry about what others think. They act because they know the real test of intelligence is in doing. The operator's life is about intention. Every move is calculated not for self-gain but for a greater goal. This level is about leadership. An operator doesn't follow, they lead. They step into the unknown, make the decisions others hesitate to make, and carry the weight of responsibility. They create opportunities where there seem to be none. Where the mimic performs and the strategist calculates, the operator moves with purpose, shaping their environment. They've learned that true leadership isn't about forcing submission. It's about guiding people, aligning them with a common goal, and helping them find their way. The operator knows their success isn't just theirs, it's shared. But with this power comes a heavy burden. As the operator rises, they take on the weight of leadership. They are accountable, and their decisions have far-reaching effects. The higher you climb, the more responsibility you shoulder. Being an operator means embracing this, understanding that your decisions shape the lives around you. It's easy to forget the pressure, but the operator never loses sight of the bigger picture. They know leadership requires sacrifice, that sometimes you must choose the hard path, the one that serves the greater good. The operator's leadership isn't about control, it's about guidance. It's not about telling people what to do, it's about showing them the way. True leadership empowers others, helps them realize their potential, and guides them toward a collective goal. The operator's strength comes from their ability to inspire and uplift. And while the operator may often be in the spotlight, they don't seek it. Their focus is always on the outcome, on the mission, not on personal recognition. They understand the ultimate goal isn't to be admired. It's to make a lasting impact, to leave the world better than they found it. At this level, the operator doesn't just react to the world. They create the world they want to see. They take the knowledge from previous levels, the strategies, the awareness, and they turn them into action. It's the difference between being a cog and being the one who builds the machine. The operator doesn't wait for opportunities, they create them. They see potential where others see roadblocks. They know success is made, not handed out. And once the operator realizes this, the world becomes their canvas. But even for the operator, there are challenges. The weight of leadership can be isolating. The pressure to always be right can be overwhelming. And yet, the operator pushes forward. They don't shrink. They take it head on, knowing their decisions shape the future. This ability to embrace responsibility, to lead with conviction, is what sets them apart. They understand that true leadership doesn't come without sacrifice. It's not easy, but it is rewarding. And the operator is willing to carry the load because they know the rewards are for everyone they lead. To move from strategist to operator, you need to step up. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop second-guessing. The time to lead is now. Take responsibility for your life and your decisions. Stop analyzing and start acting. Don't be afraid to make tough decisions, to challenge the status quo. Leadership doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you're willing to find them. If you're ready to take your life to the next level, to step into the role of leader, now is the time. The world needs more operators, people willing to take charge and lead others toward greatness. Will you answer the call? The transition to operator is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage, strength, and a willingness to face the unknown. But once you step into this role, you'll find the world starts to bend to your will. And as you shape the world, you'll find the true rewards aren't in the accolades. They're in the people you help, the lives you change, the impact you make. As the operator, you will be the one to take charge, to lead, to create opportunities not just for yourself, but for everyone. The road ahead won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Are you ready to step up and become the leader you were always meant to be? The Puppeteer, Silent Influence. There's a level of awareness that few ever reach, one often hidden in plain sight. At this level, people don't need to assert control. They've learned to influence from the shadows. The puppeteer understands that direct power is messy, and it's often more effective to pull the strings quietly. The puppeteer doesn't need the spotlight. They know true power lies in making others believe they are in control. By understanding the deepest parts of human nature, our desires, fears, and weaknesses, the puppeteer subtly shapes situations to their advantage. They don't force anyone. Instead, they create circumstances where the outcome is inevitable, yet everyone thinks they decided for themselves. It's a quiet brilliance, a mastery of influence that isn't loud or flashy. At the heart of this is a deep understanding of human behavior. The puppeteer knows people are driven by emotions and subconscious desires. They know how to push the right buttons, how to guide without guidance being detected. This is the art of influence, shaping the world through others. It's not about controlling outright. It's about subtly directing actions, often without anyone noticing. The puppeteer operates behind the scenes, pulling levers while others think they're in charge. It's powerful because it achieves goals without the friction of confrontation. They create the environments and narratives that steer people, all while making them feel they're on their own path. But with this power comes a cost. The puppeteer's ability to manipulate can lead to a deep detachment from their own humanity. They become so skilled at shaping reality that they risk losing touch with who they truly are. In their quest for control, they may start seeing people as tools, not individuals. Relationships become transactions. Trust becomes a currency to be spent. The puppeteer's genius lies in remaining unseen. But in doing so, they often forget what makes them human, the ability to connect on a genuine emotional level. As they shape the world, they can become increasingly isolated, detached from the very world they're controlling. This detachment is what makes the puppeteer dangerous. They no longer see people. They see means to an end. And while this may work for a time, it can be a lonely existence. The puppeteer's strength is in operating unnoticed, but in doing so, they can become hollow. They learn to play the game so well, they forget what it's like to truly live within it. This is the price of influence, the cost of achieving goals without ever revealing your hand. As Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The puppeteer, in their quest for control, risks losing touch with who they are, becoming so focused on shaping others that they forget to shape themselves. They may manipulate the world, but they forget to look inward to see if they're still in touch with their own values, their own humanity. If you find yourself constantly influencing others and controlling outcomes, it's time to reflect. While the ability to influence is powerful, it's not the end goal. The puppeteer's path is dangerous because it can lead to a loss of self. Power is intoxicating, and when you're pulling strings, it's easy to forget the people you're influencing are still human beings with their own dreams. True power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from understanding them. It comes from empathy, from genuine connection, from using your influence to lift others up, not just to manipulate them to your will. It's easy to get caught up in the game of influence, to see it as the ultimate strategy. But the real test of power is not how much you can control. It's how well you can serve others while remaining true to yourself. The puppeteer's path may seem like the one with the most control, but it's also the one that risks the greatest loss. To truly rise, you must balance influence with authenticity. Use your understanding to guide others, but never forget that true leadership comes from empathy, not manipulation. Influence should create harmony, not division. Power should inspire, not dominate. The puppeteer may have mastered the game, but the true master is the one who plays with purpose and humanity. They understand that while influence is important, it is never worth losing yourself. Stay grounded in your values. Stay connected to the people around you. Don't let the pursuit of power blind you to authenticity. As you rise, remember that influence is most powerful when it comes from integrity and genuine care. Don't just learn to pull the strings. Learn to use your influence for the greater good. In doing so, you'll find your power is greater than anything the puppeteer can achieve. The architect designing the game. At a certain point, the game itself changes. You no longer focus on making the right moves within the system. Instead, you start creating the system. This is the architect. The architect isn't just playing the game, they're designing it. They've moved beyond manipulating individual situations and are now focused on shaping entire environments. While most see isolated events, the architect sees patterns, connections, and potential. They understand that true power doesn't come from controlling people directly, but from building systems that influence the world on a grand scale. They don't force others to act. They create conditions where actions naturally align with a bigger vision. This is where real change begins. Think about the creators of the platforms you use daily. Social media, search engines, even economic systems. The people who designed these systems are the architects. They didn't just create products, they created entire ecosystems. They built frameworks that shape how we communicate, work, and even think. The architect understands that to influence on a large scale, you need to think in systems. The systems they create ripple out, affecting millions, often without anyone realizing it. What makes an architect so powerful is that their influence is often invisible. They don't need to be at the forefront. They've already designed the systems that will guide decisions for years, even decades. Their power isn't flashy, it's profound. It's the ability to shape entire structures, guiding people without them knowing they're being guided. But there's a catch. To become an architect, you must be willing to give up personal glory. The architect understands that true power isn't about being in the spotlight. It's about creating something lasting that will outlive your own involvement. They aren't concerned with fame or recognition. They're concerned with building something that endures. As Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. For the architect, becoming who they are means understanding that their work isn't about immediate recognition. It's about creating something far greater than themselves. It's about building structures, systems, and frameworks that will continue to function long after they're gone. The architect's impact is silent but immense. Their legacy isn't in what they've personally achieved. It's in what they've created for others to build upon. To reach this level, you need to start thinking beyond your own success. The architect doesn't look at short-term wins. They think in decades. They're not concerned with immediate results. They're focused on what will stand the test of time. To move from a high-level thinker to an architect, you need to start thinking in systems. Every action you take ripples outward, influencing the world in ways you may not immediately see. How do your actions affect the people around you? How do they impact larger systems? Are you simply participating in existing structures, or are you creating new frameworks that can change how the world works? The architect understands that lasting change comes not from individual efforts, but from creating systems that work for the greater good. These systems are designed to function without constant intervention, to influence behavior without force. The power lies not in controlling people, but in creating environments where people naturally align with your vision. This is the level where you stop chasing short-term wins and start building something that will shape the future. You stop thinking in terms of your own success and start thinking about how you can create structures that will empower others for generations. To get here, you must start thinking about the long game. Don't just look at what's in front of you. Ask how your actions today will affect the world in the future. Think about the systems you interact with. How could they be improved? What could you create that would change how people work, communicate, or live? The architect sees potential in everything, from the smallest interaction to the largest institutions. They see how things can be improved, restructured, and elevated. But to do this, you must let go of the need for immediate rewards. It's about creating something meaningful that will outlast you. One of the most profound aspects of being an architect is understanding that true power lies not in being the loudest voice, but in creating the structure that allows the room to function. The architect doesn't need to command every conversation. They've laid the groundwork. They've designed the framework that ensures everything runs smoothly without their constant intervention. This kind of power isn't about asserting dominance. It's about creating the conditions where others can thrive. It's a quieter, more strategic form of influence, but it's just as impactful. The architect's legacy isn't found in personal achievements. It's found in the systems they've created, the ways they've shaped the world, and the opportunities they've given others to rise. The most powerful architects understand the importance of structure, but also the need for flexibility. Systems must adapt to a changing world. The architect doesn't just create rigid structures. They design frameworks that are flexible enough to evolve with time. They understand the world is constantly changing, and they build with that in mind. This is what makes their influence so enduring. These systems are designed to grow and adapt, to thrive even as the world shifts. To become an architect, you need to shift your focus from immediate results to long-term vision. It's not about making the right move today. It's about making the right decisions that will shape the future. This means creating systems that can function without you. The most powerful leaders are the ones who create the systems that lead to success, not the ones who scramble for short-term victories. If you want to reach this level, start thinking in systems. Look beyond yourself and ask, how can I create something that lasts? How can I design something that will have a lasting impact? It's about stepping back from the immediate noise and focusing on what will stand the test of time. As you begin to think like an architect, you'll realize that true power lies not in control, but in creation. You'll see you don't need to fight for attention. Instead, you need to focus on building the right systems, the right environments. It's about creating something that works for the greater good, something that will continue to thrive long after you've moved on. And when you start thinking in these terms, you'll realize the impact you can have on the world is far greater than you ever imagined. The void, freedom from the game. At the highest level, the game changes completely. It's no longer about playing, designing, or even mastering. At this point, you have transcended the need to engage with the game at all. This is the void. The void represents ultimate freedom, ultimate mastery of oneself. It's a state of detachment, free from external expectations, free from fear, and free from desire. The void isn't controlled by the world. It operates independently, impervious to manipulation. Where others are caught up in the pursuit of success, recognition, or material gain, the person who reaches the void has let go of all those attachments. They've transcended the external world's power over them and achieved internal sovereignty. At this level, nothing controls them. They are not driven by ego, nor do they crave validation. They've learned to strip away everything not essential to their true self. Their actions are deliberate but unburdened by attachment to outcomes. The void operates on a completely different plane. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The person in the void understands this profoundly. They no longer seek external possessions or experiences to define their worth. Instead, they are content with what is within. They do what is necessary, nothing more, nothing less. Their actions are rooted in a deep understanding of their own inner strength, not in any desire for external reward. They are the ultimate masters of themselves, unshaken by the world. Imagine this freedom, being untouchable by external forces, not needing anything outside yourself to feel fulfilled. It's the peace that comes from knowing who you are and being completely comfortable in your own skin. The void is the ultimate state of emotional and mental detachment, where nothing in the external world can sway your inner calm. It's not about rejecting the world or retreating from it. It's about being present without being controlled by it. The void sees the world, understands it, but doesn't get involved in its chaos. It flows through life with ease, just as water moves around obstacles without being caught by them. The void doesn't try to manipulate life. It simply adapts, flows, and exists in perfect harmony. Freedom is not winning the game, it's realizing you never had to play. But reaching this level isn't easy. To get there, you must let go of everything that has held you back. The attachment to your identity, your desires, your fears, all of it must be surrendered. You must be willing to accept that you don't need external circumstances to define you. You must let go of your need to prove yourself. The void is about self-reliance, not in isolation, but in no longer being dependent on anyone or anything to feel complete. This is a level of emotional mastery that requires deep introspection and continuous growth. It's about developing the ability to remain centered no matter what happens. In the face of challenges, pressures, or temptations, the person in the void remains unaffected. They simply keep moving forward, undistracted by the noise. At the same time, the void is the ultimate state of clarity, with no attachments, no fears, and no desires clouding your vision. You can see life for what it truly is. There's no more confusion, no more running after things that don't matter. You are free from the mental clutter most people get caught in. This clarity allows you to move through life with purpose, without being driven by external events. You're not caught up in the drama of others or the whirlwind of expectations. Instead, you focus entirely on what is meaningful to you, your true purpose, your inner peace, your ongoing growth. The great strength of the void is its ability to remain untouched by life's ups and downs. Life will continue to throw challenges your way. Others may still be caught in chaos, but you, having transcended the game, will remain calm and steady. You no longer need to prove yourself, win the next battle, or reach for the next goal. You've let go, understanding that true freedom comes from within. Your actions are no longer driven by fear, need, or desire. They are driven by purpose and inner wisdom. You do what's necessary without hesitation or attachment to the result. This doesn't mean you become passive or disconnected. It means you approach life with deep peace and clarity. You become unstoppable, not because you push relentlessly, but because you no longer allow anything to derail you. No external force can control you because you've reached a state of such deep self-awareness and emotional control that you are invulnerable to distractions. The void is the ultimate freedom because it allows you to live life on your terms, completely undisturbed by the whims of society, relationships, or circumstances. To reach the void, you must be willing to look within. You must confront your ego and your desires. You must accept that your sense of self isn't based on what you have, what you do, or what others think. Your true power lies in your ability to detach from all that and live according to your inner truth. It's a level of mastery few ever reach, but the peace and freedom that come with it are unparalleled. To be in the void is to live without fear, without attachment, without need. You become the ultimate master of yourself, and in doing so, you find a peace that is unshakable. When you reach the void, you will no longer be caught up in the game of life. You will have transcended it, finding your own rhythm, moving through the world without resistance. You will no longer be a slave to external circumstances or the expectations of others. You will have mastered yourself completely, and that is the ultimate freedom. It's the highest form of intelligence, not because it knows more or does more, but because it has the wisdom to simply be. It has learned that the greatest power lies in detachment. Detachment from ego, from fear, from the world's fleeting rewards. Once you reach this level, you'll find that nothing in life can hold you back. You will be unstoppable, not because of your achievements, but because of your peace. You've now seen the path from the dormant mind all the way to the void. Each level is a journey, a step toward mastering yourself and transcending the chaos. But remember, this is only the beginning. The real work starts when you decide to apply these insights and make the change. It's not about being perfect, it's about progress. So keep striving, keep growing, and never forget that true power comes from within. If this video resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to Stoic Mindset Mastery for more journeys into the depths of self-discovery. Thank you for being a part of this community. Keep seeking the truth, and may you find peace in your pursuit of greatness.